Get out of here.
I had to fix a few.
All right, Al. Let's go. Pledge it up.
Gotta wait for Danielle.
The meeting tonight is for the conduct of town business by the town board. The public is invited to participate at the items marked on the agenda public comment. During that segment of the meeting, if you have a question or comment for the supervisor, please raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. Please state your name, your full name, and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation. I think I did that last time.
Thank you, Danielle. I'd like to start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for moments of silence for all men and women all over the country fighting for democracy and freedom, especially those in harm's way. Pray for those that are affected by all these terrible hurricanes, especially in Puerto Rico. Thank you very much. Stuttering. So tonight we have the public hearing of the 2018 preliminary budget. Town Board, Town of Marlborough, 21 Milton Turnpike, Milton, New York, October the 23rd, 2017, 7 p.m. So this is a public hearing. If you have a question, please state your name, come up to the podium. And we have our Budget Director, Chris Wilco, here, and we'll answer any questions that you have. You could think about it. We could leave it open, and during the rest of the meeting, if you so wish, you could come up. Mark, could you come up to the podium, please?
I just wondered, Alan, if you could give us a thumbnail sketch of, well, I guess the last couple of pages are the really important ones that give summaries of everything.
Well, I think Chris could address most of it. So we started off with the tentative. Now
Right.
This is the preliminary, in which the preliminary becomes the final. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So in the tentative, these are the changes that we're proposing, that's before us now. So you have any questions on those changes?
What page are the changes on?
So I'm looking at what we have today is this sheet right here.
Well, we're on the preliminary. We already made changes from the tentative to the preliminary.
Speak in the
I don't have
microphone,
those in front of me, but,
Chris, get the microphone.
Just there, right? Yeah, just a little bit closer, that's all.
So we're working now to bring that tax rate down, and we have some ideas, and that will become the final. Did you have a question on a specific thing?
No, I was just, if you could just highlight what it stands now, what the rate is, what people might be paying on a $200,000 or $300,000 house.
Well, the rate change is 3.56 on the preliminary. We're trying to get it down under 2%.
Right.
And that would give a homeowner, let's say, $200,000 assessment, their tax would go up $32.
Okay.
With the current, or with the 2%?
With getting
with
the
the
tax
20
rate
once we-
change under 2%,
Yeah, once we change.
If you do that, right.
which we will.
We are going to do that. So another example is if it's a $400,000 home, it would the increase would be $64.
Okay.
So this year in 2018, thanks to this board and their hard work and their diligence, we once again are below the 2% cap.
Right.
And also, we're starting this where we're not hitting too much on our fund balance. Previous years, we used quite a bit of the fund balance, and we recognize that that's not sustainable. So this year, we're only going to use $75,000 of the fund balance to keep taxes low, below the 2%.
Do you know how, once you use the 75, do you know how much that fund balance will be?
I don't, at this time, it's hard to estimate, because we usually get that fund balance in 2018 when all the
Right.
bills have been paid.
By December 31st, you do the calculations.
I think it's beyond that. I think we wait till after December, all the bills are in and stuff like that, and see what our fund balance
Right,
is
I mean,
for
we're
2017.
probably around 600,000 if the budget revenues come in exactly and expenses go out exactly, but, you know, it never works that way, but.
Do you think that'll be after the after using the 75? You'll have about
No,
six
that's before,
before the 75?
right.
Okay. Are there any key things you wanted to outline as to what cuts you might make? And
I mean, they're all listed here, Mark, as far as...
I don't know if I have that sheet.
Hey, you don't have the sheet? We'll get that sheet for you.
Okay.
We can get it.
Basically, in the highway expenses, we decreased it by $80,000. We decreased some personal service with police, $5,000, planning contractual, $6,500 decrease.
And then the
I mean-
revenue, we increased the transfer station.
Yeah, and the transfer station, the revenues came above from, it was 17,000, final was 23,500.
That came in.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So that was the plus on the revenue side with the transfer station. So, you know, we had some increases, general expense increases with Social Security. It went from $121,200 to $126,800. Medicare went up from $28,400 to $29,700. Highway general repairs went from, that's what I just referred to, the 80,000, was 447,000. With the $80,000 decrease, it's 367,000. Basically, highway Social Security just about stayed the same. Also, the highway Medicare stayed the same. Water expenses, water for Social Security stayed about the same, and also the water Medicare. That's about it. The Milton, other changes with the Milton Fire District. It was 602,900, and that went down to 570,500. General fund balance of 27 budget was, we used 175,000, like I said, and this year we're doing 75,000.
Right.
So overall, I would say that the town's in good shape. I know it is, and thanks to the due diligence of each department, keeping budgets down, and this board working very hard to keep taxes low for 2018.
You had mentioned, Al, that insurance and employee benefits, health insurance went up 11.7%.
It did. It
From
did went
what
up.
was it before and what is it now?
Well, you know, it's just like any other town. We're on the roulette system where it's a high deductible. So what we do is we pay the deductible. So the deductible went up this year for a family and a single person. So basically, we budget for that deductible,
Right.
and hopefully everybody stays healthy and you come in budget. So far in 2017, we're on budget, right, Chris?
Yes.
And so that's the way we work it. Even though it went 11.7% increase, it's no increase to the employees. Everything stays the same.
Right, right.
And just remember, though, we can budget almost the same, even though the plan went up 11.6%. As Al says, it's a kind of like a roll of the dice if you're going to use all the deductible, because our policy is we have a higher deductible plan, no out-of-pocket expense by the employee. So if they don't use that deductible, obviously we don't expend the money, correct?
Right.
But when we budget for these things, we budget for if they expended all of it.
Worst case scenario.
Worst case
worst
scenario.
case scenario.
So in this year, we could, and knowing how people use your insurance, after a couple of years of using this insurance, you kind of get a feel of how it's being used. Now, that's not always going to be the case. Again, it's a roll of the dice. But we could kind of feel comfortable of where we're at what we budgeted last year to this year without that, a full 11.6% increase.
Right.
Because we know probably more than likely, we're not gonna use all of that deductible cost that we do budget for. So we leave ourselves a cushion in there in case for future year increases and in case employees use it all, right?
Right.
But this year, the deductibles went up additional $400 per family and $400 per individual plans.
Right.
And then the premiums, of course, went up 11%.
Do you know how many people you cover, employees you cover?
48? Or-
Yeah, about that, it's just.
I don't know
under
how,
48?
how many
Well,
family
including
and,
retirees,
I'm sorry?
it's just under 50.
family and single.
Including retirees.
Oh, including retirees, so
Yeah.
just under
We
50.
take care of the retired people too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So,
Thanks.
yeah, so that's the story with the insurance, you know? Something that we don't have control of. We don't have control of the insurance, and we don't have control of our two unions,
Right.
which are the police and the highway department.
I'll get that sheet from you at the end.
And I just want to make a point that Al pointed out, which is a very good point of this non-sustainable use of the fund balance. We started this, I mean, when I got on the board, we started this about 5, 6 years ago of trying to wean ourselves off of using fund balance money. I believe when I first started, we were using $330,000 of fund balance a year, which in my, looking at the budget and with the budget officer and other board members, I think we were probably being a little overtaxing at the time, so that's why every year we had an additional amount of money to give back to the taxpayer the next year.
Right.
So I think we've come full circle, and where we're getting very close to budgeting correctly on mostly all these things, with a lot of help from Chris and going through these line items, we could understand where we actually are spending the money better. But I just want to tell you, like last year's budget, we spent $175,000 out of that fund balance. We took $100,000 less out of the fund balance this year of only $75,000. That's a huge swing, because when you, just so people understand, when you take money out of the fund balance, that means the next year you're already that much in the hole before any other increases. So we took $175,000 out of the fund balance last year. This year we were already starting off a negative $175,000. So just think about that. We reduced that $100,000 right off the bat. That was a lot of hard work and give back by some of the departments, right? You know, taking $80,000 out of the highway department was not a tough call, and Al sat down with the highway superintendent and they worked it out. Same thing with the police department. We decided not to go with another car this year because we feel that the fleet is up to date and we could go one more year without having to replace. That was, again, sitting down, talking to department heads. There's a lot of give and take, and I want to congratulate the board. I want to congratulate the department members who we sat with and went through this budget line by line. And you know, myself and Al are on that committee, and I think the department heads did a great job working with us. And I think the taxpayers should be pretty pleasantly happy with this, considering what everything goes up in the world today.
Especially
So-
insurance.
Yeah, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Mark, here, let me give it to you right now. These are the two items that we talked about. If you need any other assistance, just call me or call Chris. Ed, come on in.
Come on,
Take
Ed,
a
you feel
picture?
like,
Take a picture, man.
Can you hear us?
Kind of bounces off the wall. Come on up.
Come on up, man.
Nobody else has any questions on the budget stuff? This is always the most
Yes.
important thing.
Mr. Walters.
Welcome back, Ralph.
Hey, Ralph.
Been a while.
Hey.
I had a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Since Mark brought up and you talked a lot about health insurance, how many employees are currently contributing something for their health insurance?
Quite a new ones now.
Good question. I really don't know.
And
I
what,
think about
is
10.
it a percentage of the premium or a fixed?
Yeah, it's 10%.
It's a percentage.
But police department's a little different. It's a percentage of their salary.
You're right.
Yeah,
It's not a percentage of the premium.
And that pertains to, under contract, only the new hires from the last contract, so.
It's actually more than the percentage. Currently, it's more than the percentage.
Yeah.
I think that's the way it works with the highway too. It's the
It
new
is.
people that come in.
Yeah,
pay this percentage.
that's the way,
Anybody.
that's the way we did the contracts, is the new hires are gonna pay a percentage into their, so the highway department would actually reflect more, because there's been a pretty large turnover
right?
In the last
About a
2
year.
years.
Was
What percentage are
it
they paying?
97, Chris?
What
What did you
highways-
say, Chris?
Highways
10%?
10, maybe 10% of
Highways
the
10%.
of the employee population contributes now?
Well, I'd say there's probably about 15
15.
So that's a higher.
employees that
15
contribute.
Yeah,
out
there's
of
about
50.
15 employees.
Total employees.
So it's
I think it was
30%.
after 97, a lot of, well, like non-union employees started contributing.
Right.
And then the highway department started contributing, and then this past year was the first year we started getting new hires for the police to start contributing. So it's slowly but surely getting some money back in the fund.
They all give up their newborn.
That's it.
Next is, other than the two unions, what was the percentage increase in salaries for elected officials? All elected officials?
Elected officials? None.
Wasn't that like the last 3 years?
Except for two, the highway superintendent and the
Yeah.
town clerk.
And what percentage
They
did
got
they
2%,
get?
2%.
like everybody else.
And everybody else got 2%.
Including part-time?
Yes,
Part-time
Yeah.
dispatchers,
Yep.
yeah.
There's not too many part-timers.
except I will say in this year in the police budget, the police contract in this year is a two-phase increase.
Right.
So they will have a little higher than a 2% overall by the end of the year.
They get
But it's a
more?
6-month and then a 6-month to get a step, and then this year is the end of that contract and we start negotiating again.
That's in their contract.
They get a two-step?
It's a two-phase increase. This is what we worked out in negotiations in order to get negotiations complete, let's say. That we wanted a certain number, they wanted a certain number in the last year, and how we did it was in a two-phase where the first half of the year we got our number, and the second half of the year they got their number.
So they all get the increase at the same time?
Correct.
Yes, correct.
It's not based on hire date that they get one increase in the beginning of the fiscal year?
No.
Higher date just is where your step is, right? Higher date depends on your salary and where your step is. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry. Is it January?
January.
January to June, I think.
Yeah.
January 1 and June, I think.
Fund balance. You're using 75,000. What was the fund balance in the AUD December 31st, 16?
16?
End of the year.
End of
last
the year?
Last year.
End of last year.
You'd have to get back to you on that one, right? I would have guessed.
And is the 15 AUD been filed yet?
Yes.
Wasn't? What about the 16?
Yeah, almost.
That's not an answer. Yes or no?
No.
Getting close.
Yeah,
It was
it's getting
actually due
close.
back on April 30th of,
I'm having the auditor look it over first, because
what's the problem with us getting these AUDs filed within the time frame that their
Well,
state
I've
says?
had a lot of problems and a lot of changes with water billing, and I'm having a hard time balancing it, to be honest, so.
But rest assured, it's getting done. As a matter of fact, one of the...
Yeah, I mean,
the
I'm working
audits
very
are-
closely with one of the auditors, and now I finally uploaded all the files they need. They're coming next Monday for the week to
This is
finish
to
up.
finalize the 16, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
How are you sitting for 17? Are you going to be balanced?
I'm all
On time?
prepared.
Huh?
I'm all prepared.
It's all ready to go, Ralph.
Because some of the water billing issues will be behind you, or?
Not really.
Not really,
honestly.
The water billing when we changed over to the new system, a lot of it is happened to be done
We're
manually.
working on it. I'm
It's
going to work
manual,
with Tina on it.
So
and-
it can't be automated, so it's a lot of manual entry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that has
A lot of
been
time consuming.
causing some backlash here, right?
It's been a nightmare.
It has.
When it's all done, it'll be good.
It'll
but-
be good. I mean, they love the
It
system.
will. It is actually a good program, and it's a very easy, like, you know, it's
Well-
very easy to use and easy to get reports and stuff. It's just getting the information in there
Yep.
and working the way
Correctly.
I want it to be able to put it onto the general ledger. So,
You know, and probably Howard and Scott would know this, probably Alan too, is whenever you do a database transfer into one software into the other software, it never comes clean. It's always problems, you know. I never, when I was working for IBM, I never seen a program, you know, that allows one program to,
Nope.
you know.
I'll
to
find
use-
out on Wednesday, because I'm gonna be I'm the guinea pig, so we'll find.
So,
And we did it twice, not just once. It's, you know, going into Springbrook and then from Springbrook to BAS, so.
right. And there's also the badgers, the readers that we have on the houses that was having a problem with BAS reading the badger. So there's 3 different softwares involved.
Right.
And I know Tina's been working very hard to, Tina and Charlie also, Charlie Maggio, the water superintendent. Maybe I gave him too much time.
3 minutes is up.
Yes, Ralph.
I bring this up just about every year at budget time. And you mentioned something tonight, Al,
Okay?
about one of the fire districts. Keep in mind, the town collects their tax, has no say on their budget or what they're putting in it. Last Tuesday night was the Marlborough Fire District's public hearing on their budget, and I'm sure Milton's has either had it or will be having it shortly. If anybody has a problem about fire district tax, that's where they go. It has nothing to do with the town other than we collect their tax.
Absolutely.
Because they can. And you shouldn't even bring up either fire district in any discussion.
Well, as transparent, you know, I had it down, so it doesn't matter.
He just made it effective public knowledge. That's all.
But,
Yeah, it's public knowledge anyhow.
it belongs at their public hearing, not at this one.
Well, I just want to let people know that they're going to get a hit.
Maybe they missed a meeting.
So we owe you one answer, Ralph.
What was the fund balance for
Fund balance at the end of 2016.
2016 fund balance?
We'll get
Right,
it.
Chris?
It'll be done soon.
555?
Anybody else
Roughly.
on the budget? Going once, going twice. Okay. Need a motion to close the public hearing?
I make motion, close public hearing.
Need a second?
Second.
Go ahead, Howard.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Where did it go?
Where did he go?
Where are you? Game didn't start for
So moved. So, guide me a little bit on this. Is there anything else the board has to do? Okay, we're good, because now it becomes the final with these changes.
Right, we'll adopt the final next
We
meeting.
make the
Yeah.
changes and then the final.
And final, and then we adopt the
Correct.
final at the next meeting
Correct.
by resolution.
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks, Chris.
thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
So, I need I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda. On new business, I'd like to have a discussion about NODO district extension and a request for the Milton Landing shoreline for stone. So I make those 2 amendments. I need a motion and a second.
I'll motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Motion to approve minutes from the October 09, 2017 Town Board meeting.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Authorize payment of bills in the amount of $255,259.69.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. No presentation tonight. Any comments on the agenda? Mark, you want to get up? You have to, a little exercise here, Mark.
On the resolution on the overlay district, this
Yes.
parcel is located, where is that?
That's right there. It used to be the old Eckerson building, right up the road.
All right.
J.T. Eckerson?
Just
So
before
this is
Lions
just
Lane.
pertaining to that?
Yes.
Yeah, it pertains to
Yes.
that. That was basically a property that was zoned RAG, but was run commercial, so it was taxed as used, but the zoning was RAG, so in order to put a business in there, the overlay zone actually now allows that to become a business.
Right.
So, you know, what the process was, the applicant goes in front of the building inspector, there's a whole application that he fills out. The application, then the building inspector says it could go in front of the town board receives all the data, the maps and stuff, and then, therefore, after that, the town board agrees to send it to the planning board with a letter to the chairman of the planning board. They review it, they do a public hearing, they do all the secret and stuff like that, lighting, whatever, DOT. Then, once they're satisfied, it comes back to this board and we do a resolution, and then we do the floating zone and just lay it on top of that, which makes it legal, makes it to highway development.
Do you know how many you've done, give or take?
This is probably our third or fourth one.
Second one?
It's the second one, I think.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
count.
Empire,
this is the second one.
yeah, second one.
Second
Yeah, sorry.
There's other ones, but I think they're
One
in front.
didn't quite go as well.
Yeah.
This one started on a different
This was actually the first one.
And again, this is the success story of
Changed.
the fact that the parcels along 9W that were zoned R-Ag, but were being used as commercial, they were non-conforming pre-existing. So in order for a business to be put in there, it couldn't be put on R-Ag unless it was a well drilling outfit. So what this does is this allows the expansion of the 9W corridor.
Right.
And bringing other property owners in basically into.
And do you know what business he will be doing there?
Excuse me?
What business he'll do there?
Frank,
Asbestos?
Bowman, is his last name? He's in construction, he's keeping most of his equipment inside that building.
Okay.
Construction, he does like
Asbestos.
demo work.
Asbestos abatement.
Asbestos abatement.
Yeah, he was in
But it's
front of
mainly
us
just
once.
for his storage of
Right.
vehicles and things like that.
And I would say to his benefit that he did everything that anybody asked for. He did what DOT wanted, he did what the county wanted. I mean, and his application was, if everybody was like that, we would have no problems. He was really great. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he's gonna be putting curbing in too, right?
Yeah, curbing,
You're gonna
lighting, I
finally
think
see
he did the
curbing.
lighting
He
already.
did the lighting, he's gonna put curbing in, so he's doing everything
Pretty
the
good
right
sized
way.
company, too.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, so we had the comments on the agenda. Also, before I forget, I just want to remind everybody about Trunk or Treat at the Marlborough Elementary School on the 28th. That's 3 to 5. That's a great time. People come with their cars and they decorate them. It's a good thing. It's a safe thing for kids, especially little kids. They go around in the parking lot, get candy in a safe environment.
And then they can go up to town.
We usually have the DARE car there, right?
And then they can go to town after
Yeah,
that, right?
when's
Marlborough,
that?
same day,
The 28th, yeah.
28
same
also.
time, I think.
Then on the, just so everybody know, the 29th, the Milton Fire Department and the Milton Library are hosting a Kiddies in Costume Halloween Parade from the library. Going to start off about 4:30, end up at the firehouse. We give out treats, we have games, kids can run around, look at the trucks.
It's a good time.
Fire prevention stuff. So it's a great time. So
What time is that?
it's meet at the library at 4. Step-off's going to be 4:20, 4:30. And then it's nice. The fire truck Freddie leads the parade. We have fire trucks there. We'll have the road shut down for safety. I think, Jerry, you're going to be able to get me a car there. So it'll be perfect. It's a fun event. We've been doing it the last 6, 7 years, I think. It's
I've
great.
been to them. It's great. The kids love it.
What do they do?
They love Freddie.
It's good.
So, on new business, I sent an email, I guess, to all you guys, and you read it about the Noto District Extension. And I noticed, when I was looking at our code, basically, I'm talking to Tom Corcoran about this. In our code, it has that no out-of-district connections in absence of agreement approved. No. So what's in our code is that nobody could be an out-of-user, out-of-district user. And I didn't understand that, and I asked Tom about that, and he thinks they put that in our code was back in the day when Highland and Milton with that, they were using our water, so they put that in the code to protect the town of Marlborough from not doing that. That being said, the only way Chris Noto could get into our district, and the easiest way, is to change the code. And so Ron Blass made a suggestion that we alternate the code to say no out-of-district connections in the absence of agreement approved by the town board. I think that gives us more control of exactly who's going to be.
So the question was, so if we make that change, then they would have to come to the town board for approval to join the district? Or they would still be an out of?
They would be an out of.
And they would have to pay a fee?
They would have to pay a fee. They're probably, Chris is going to do his own line. He's going to pay for that and then turn it over to the town. Charlie Maggio, our water superintendent, has been working with Chris on the footage that he would like to see, and also a fire hydrant. And I think that Mr. Noto is in agreement with that. So this would be the first step for him to start the procedure with.
Does he have to pay any of the, upkeep fees or back fees for the plant or any of that type?
I don't think so. I think it relates back to the town. He'll turn it over to the town once he puts in that certain amount of footage.
But he pays for that.
He pays
So
for
then
that.
he would donate it, you're
Yeah.
basically saying he would do the,
He
all
would
the
do the
building,
work.
and then donate it back to the town. But
Donate
he
it
wouldn't
back
be
to
in the
the-
district per se, it wouldn't be a district extension?
No. That would be a whole different ball, like Ron was saying in his email. That would be a whole
But
different
he's gonna
ballgame.
pay sewer, the regular,
And this is just water.
I mean, he's gonna pay the water fees like anybody else would if we have a bond or if we have a upkeep, or he'd have to pay those.
Yeah, and to get into the water district, he's
Right.
gonna have to pay upfront a certain amount of money, and
So
then
then-
when it turns over, he'll be using whatever usage per rate.
Yeah.
So
So
he'll
then-
be treated just as a,
Like he is in the district.
yeah, like he's
So
in.
it's no added cost to the town, really?
No, and it's a good thing for the town. I think
Yeah.
it puts in
Yeah.
a loop for Charlie Maggio that
Yeah, no, it loops it good, and then,
it gets him
I
to a
talked to
loop. It
Charlie.
doesn't quite finish it off, but
but
it gets him there.
it gets him where he needs to be. I talked to Charlie about it.
This is property on Highland Avenue, sort of by the Diorio
Yes,
development,
yes,
there?
yes.
A little bit north of that?
I guess things changed with that development because
So-
prior to that, they wouldn't let us hook up to their.
My only question would
Right.
be if we have to expend monies here to change a code, is he gonna pay for it?
That's a good question.
Because why should we have to expend money for something he needs?
Well, it's really for the benefit of the town. I don't know how much it's gonna really be.
It's the more
but,
benefit to him.
You know, we'll see. So,
Maybe we could
what
roll.
I'm hearing from the board is to see if he'll put something in escrow as far as legal, and
Yeah, that's what I
think
was
I think he did all the engineering already.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just from the attorney fees, and a code change, as we know, isn't cheap, even if it's a couple lines.
Yeah.
It's expensive to print all these things out. And having said that, I know we brought this up before. Do we have anything else in that section of the code that we want to look at before we do this? So if we do it, it's in one.
Yeah,
I guess we should.
I think that's a good point. I think there's been brought up some issues with Tom about the code, that certain things he'd like to change,
Yeah.
so.
So I think it'd be a
if we
good thing to
could
have a
put it
review.
all, bundle it together and
Right.
then do it as one. Like you said, it's expensive, and also it's not necessarily the legal fees, it's the
No, it's
code.
the code.
It's the printing,
When
yeah.
you put it into the code book and stuff
I
like
mean,
that.
Danielle knows the
Public
expense
notice
of,
and
print-
everything
you don't think but it's very expensive to print out all these inserts that gotta go in these code books.
Maybe we need
Every
to,
single person's gotta get one throughout.
maybe we need to get away from that. Do we have to do that? Can we just have an online version? Do you know? Does anybody know?
I know some of the employees prefer to have a book.
Yeah.
Well, we could have one
A lot
book.
of the planning board members have their own.
Make our own copies. Do one, make our own.
Well, I mean,
That's
We
the idea.
print about 40.
Howard's got a good question, I mean, as far as the
In the
books
low
go, because
40s.
I mean, maybe not everyone, and I think everybody on this board does, maybe everyone on the planning board does, but if we all have tablets, laptops, and everything else. I mean, it could be,
Something we can look into.
I think if we go back to what we've been talking about since last year, if we go to like Chromebooks or something like that, we could
all
eliminate
this out.
these books and paperwork because we're paying for a service now of an online code book, right?
Right.
It's in the budget. There's one thing in the budget that's an increase, Mark, $1,750 for a fee for these online code book
Yeah.
changes and things that are on the line. So
And
We
it's
have to make a
just a matter of,
transition first, and
we
then...
gotta do a
sure,
transition.
sure, it's something to look at down the
it's
road.
definitely something we should be looking
But we gotta
forward
get
to.
to the bottom.
So, I'll see what, I'll talk, if it's all right with the board, I'll talk to Ron Blass tomorrow and just see what the legal fees might be on this.
Yep.
And we'll move forward, and I'll call Mr. Noto up. The other thing was that I got a request from Gail Appler Jr. and about putting some more stone on the shoreline down at the landing. I guess their DEC permit will come up at the end of the year, right? At the end of December, it'd be,
Yeah, the permit was valid, it was a time-sensitive permit. We've done a lot of the work, we just need to finish it up. So we've got it set up to where that rock needs to go, but Gail, like I said in Gail's email, there was monies that was earmarked for the landing
right.
within the general.
Well,
so.
talking to Chris, I guess we could do that, 6,000, it all depends on what the board's, or, you know, that whole thing about that $7,500 being put away, I don't know what happened to it. So, I mean, it's something that I think we have to do, that it protects our shoreline, and because of the
And what
DEC
rock is
permit.
this?
Yes,
This
it's
is
what,
the one-
6,000?
Big stones
Yeah.
that Gail gets from up north,
So we have them, or we have to get them?
we have to get
Get
them.
'em.
And where are
And
they
then
going? They're
place
going in the shore?
No, if you look down there now, we did a shoreline restoration, and we worked with the DEC quite closely, because we, we basically had to. But you'll see, there's a row of rocks, the existing shore, more towards the water, the existing shoreline, and then there's basically like a cavity. That's where these rocks are gonna go.
Yeah, right in the castle.
So we have $6,000 set aside for the purchase of these rocks?
We don't, that's like I was saying, we don't know where that money was. I mean, that was previous administrations promised that money, and I don't think that the Milton Landing used that money, or we don't have any data stating that they used the money. So I talked to Chris, and she said we could take it out of the fund balance, or we could
I
take
tell
it
her,
out.
we gotta look, tell her we should be able to, we should have money in the park,
I had a look.
oh no, because we used the
We
money for
used
the.
it because
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
'cause of the-
bocce ball report. What happened to Ed?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess he didn't
Too
want to
locked in a
stay,
bed.
I don't know where he went.
I mean, it's something we have to do, your permit expires at the end of the year?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and it's something we want to do, and
Yeah,
we
I
promised to
think we
do.
We
and
have to do
So
it.
we
Yeah.
have to do it,
So-
you won't
She
have any
said we
land.
could take it.
How are we
the
going to
fund
get
balance.
the rocks from where they get dumped to? Is our highway department,
Then,
Gail?
You know, Gail's men
Would
volunteered
put
their
it in there?
time, and
Okay.
they do that.
Okay,
They've been volunteering their time, and that, unbelievable amount of time donated to the town
Yep.
by the highway people.
Okay.
So I just need a motion to, that $6,000, we could take it out of the contingency fund, she said, or whatever, we have the
We
money.
can't use, no, that's true. I was gonna say, we couldn't use any of that extra money from the Larkin grant,
maybe,
because it's not part of the train
It's not
station.
fun, yeah.
yeah.
We're talking about that now because it came on the budget by 50,000, so we're trying to think of what fits into the Larkin grant and what we could do on
Which-
the outside as far
which-
as plantings, maybe,
Yeah, landscaping,
But Al, is this the painting grant?
excuse me?
Is this
Yeah.
the painting grant?
the exterior.
Yeah, because I actually met with the contractor down there. Did he go over some
Yeah,
of the
we went
stuff?
over everything.
The
yeah.
cement and all
Yeah,
that?
Ted Bartlett, who did the bid package, was down there the other day. He was very
That's
pleased
all the
with
cement work will be?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what I meant, yeah,
The
okay.
cement work was approved. Didn't approve sandblasting.
No,
the,
I agree with you on
yeah,
that one.
so we did
They can
do that.
repaint those. I talked to the painter.
Yeah.
It's a good prime base, it just get a little bit darker with the green.
Yeah, the paint, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
You know, they did
Mike's
one
doing a good
panel
job.
and one door, second coat, just absolutely stunning. It's a green. And the other thing, the work change was when they take the panels down outside, if there's no insulation in there,
Yeah,
to
that's-
insulate it, just made sense.
Just so, I guess does the rest of the board know this, what we're talking about, or?
Well, we're talking about it now.
All right, just so, because when they opened up the boards, and this is for everybody else, they opened up the boards, the air of the building was built and there wasn't any insulation. It's actually a simple fix, it's a balloon frame construction, so they're actually able to insulate it basically from the outside in. And since we're gonna be using the building year-round, that makes sense right now to insulate it.
So I would encourage anybody to, just to go down there, see the progress every, you know, like if you, this is one of Ralph's main topics, you know, parks and buildings.
He loves them. He loves parks.
That was one goal.
So just to go down there and check it out, because it's really gonna be a beautiful building, and it's gonna be a destination down there, and I'm very happy, especially thank Senator Larkin for that $150,000 to do that final step that's been in progress for 10 years now. Okay.
So we gotta get approval to spend money?
Yeah, did we make a
wanna make a-
motion to
no.
spend that 6,000?
Alan, you want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
A second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So
Aye.
moved. Oh, my God.
Put that on the-
Ed said he had emergency. He's gotta be.
I think we could consider those two topics as our workshop topic, unless you have something you want to bring up and you want to discuss, something that's, you know, you feel that there's a concern, or if not, we could
That was it.
move right on. I don't have any correspondence, and we could move right to public comment, if you like. Public comment it is. Anybody have a public comment? Okay. With that being said, we'll go to the resolution. And the resolution basically states that Resolution 100, to introduce a local law of the town of Marlborough, Ulster County, New York, amending the zoning map of the town of Marlborough to establish a business corridor overlay district under Town Code Section 155-12H, covering property at 1613 Route 9W, Milton, New York, more particularly described as tax parcel number 103.3-4-19. And basically what this says is that we agree that they have done everything, and that now it's in front of the board, and Supervisor Lanzetta advised the town board that pursuant to municipal home rule law of the state of New York, it will be necessary to hold a public hearing upon this law. He offers the following resolution, was seconded by, it's a little different than we usually do.
I'll second it.
All right. Who moved its adoption, whereas on October 23rd, 2017, has introduced this local law for the town of Marlborough to be known as the Town of Marlborough Local Law Number. Do you have a number on that?
I think we're going to leave it blank for now, until after the public hearing.
Okay.
Just in case something else
So
comes
we'll
along
have a public
beforehand.
hearing, we'll advertise for the public hearing.
Yep.
And then we'll be ready to go.
We need to vote on this?
We have to vote on it, though, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And at the end, it says foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote, which resulted as follows.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Ellen, would you like to make a motion?
I'd love to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you. Thank you, everybody out there.